Imagine discovering a message written 5,000 years ago. A message carved into clay by one of the earliest civilizations in human history. A message that might describe forgotten kings, ancient floods, and a world that existed long before recorded history. These messages exist. They are known as the Sumerian tablets. Thousands of these tablets have been discovered buried beneath the sands of ancient Mesopotamia. They were written by the Sumerians, a people who lived more than 5,000 years ago in the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The Sumerians created one of the first known writing systems in human history. They pressed wedge-shaped symbols into wet clay using a reed stylus. This writing system became known as cuneiform. Once the clay dried, the words were preserved for thousands of years. What makes these tablets so important is not just their age, it is what they say. Because within these ancient writings are stories of kings who ruled for impossibly long periods of time. Stories of a catastrophic flood that destroyed the world. Stories of civilizations rising and falling long before the history we were taught in school. One of the most famous discoveries among these texts is the Sumerian king list. At first glance, the tablet looks like a simple historical document. It lists the rulers of ancient cities and how long they governed. But when researchers began translating the text, they discovered something astonishing. The earliest kings on the list were said to have ruled for tens of thousands of years. One king was recorded as ruling for more than 20,000 years. Another was said to have ruled over 40,000 years. According to the tablet, these rulers existed before a massive flood swept across the world. After the flood, the list continues with kings whose reigns suddenly become much shorter. Hundreds of years, then decades, then lifetimes similar to our own. The shift is dramatic. Almost as if history had been divided into two different ages, an ancient world before the flood and a new world after it. To modern historians, these enormous lifespans are usually interpreted as mythology. Ancient cultures often exaggerated numbers to symbolize power or divine authority. But the Sumerian king list raises a fascinating question. Why did the writers place such incredible reigns before the flood and realistic ones after it? Was it purely symbolic, or was it preserving a distorted memory of something older? Another famous Sumerian text offers even more clues. It tells the story of a man named Utnapishtim. According to the tale, the gods warned him that a great flood was coming that would destroy humanity. They instructed him to build a massive boat, to fill it with animals and supplies, and to survive the catastrophe that would wipe out civilization. This story appears in the Epic of Gilgamesh. When this story was first translated in the 19th century, it shocked historians, because the flood narrative sounded strikingly similar to the later story of Noah's Ark found in the Bible. Two different cultures, separated by centuries, both describing a massive flood that nearly wiped out humanity. This led researchers to consider the possibility that ancient societies were remembering a real catastrophic event, perhaps a massive regional flood that devastated early settlements along the rivers of Mesopotamia. Or perhaps something even larger, something that affected multiple cultures across the ancient world. Some scientists believe rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age may have flooded huge coastal regions where early humans once lived. If early settlements were destroyed by water, survivors might have carried stories of that disaster for generations. Over time, those memories could have transformed into myths recorded on clay tablets. But the mysteries of the Sumerian tablets do not stop there. Some texts describe advanced knowledge of astronomy. They recorded planetary movements and celestial cycles with impressive accuracy. Other tablets contain detailed mathematical calculations and complex legal systems. These discoveries reveal that the Sumerians were far more advanced than people once believed. They developed organized cities, irrigation systems, trade networks, and written laws. Their influence spread across the ancient Near East and shaped the civilizations that followed. Yet despite everything we have learned about them, many of their writings remain difficult to interpret. Thousands of tablets have been discovered, but many are still untranslated. Others are broken into fragments, their messages incomplete. Each new translation adds another piece to the puzzle of early human history, and sometimes those pieces raise more questions than answers. Did the Sumerians preserve memories of events that happened long before their time? Were their myths simply stories or distorted echoes of real ancient disasters? Could the earliest chapters of human civilization be far older than we currently believe? Modern archaeology continues to uncover new evidence about the ancient world. New ruins are discovered, new tablets are translated, new insights emerge about the lives of the people who first built cities and recorded their stories in clay. But the deeper researchers dig into the past, the more mysterious it becomes. Because history is not always a clear timeline of events. Sometimes it's a collection of fragments, myths, and memories that survived thousands of years. And among those fragments, the Sumerian tablets remain some of the most intriguing artifacts ever discovered. They are the voices of one of humanity's earliest civilizations, voices that still speak to us from 5,000 years in the past. Voices that remind us how much of our history may still be waiting to be rediscovered. Because somewhere within those ancient symbols pressed into clay, there might be clues about humanity's earliest stories. Stories that could reveal a lost chapter of our past.